You're listening to The Fly Guy Show. They do everything on the fly and in such a fly manner. Stay tuned for economic uplift. It's all about the money. Now for our host, Mr. Burt Bergen and DJ Seiko Varner. Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.
After all that Bacardi.
The black situation in America, okay? Even if you can't see that clearly, don't worry, because I'm going to read from it so you won't miss a beat. Okay. What is that? Oh, that's in the way. First things first, I don't know if y'all know, but we're in the middle of a multicultural movement against black people. The United States government, the American social order, is trying to convince black people to blend in with all other non-white people. Multiculturalism. I speak a lot at college campuses. And many of you who went to college when I went back in the 90s or before that, you know there was something known as a black student union, right? I was president of my black student union, okay? Now, they're trying to influence and in many cases demand that the Black Student Union change its name to the Multicultural Student Union. This is happening all across America. Now that's good enough right there. Yeah, it's not a sleepover. I'm thinking. The other thing too is when organizations bring me to speak at college, they're now being told that since you're bringing Dr. Umar, who has a message that is exclusively for people of African descent, you also have to bring another speaker who is not African American or is gay. And this is the new strategy. On top of that, they're taking money away from the Black Student Union, and they're giving it to the Multicultural Student Union. Why is this happening? Why is there this new push for black people to stop standing out like a sore thumb and blend in? First of all, it is a strategy to make you and your political agenda invisible. The black agenda is the only agenda that America is not interested in talking about or doing anything about. The LGBTQ agenda, they're interested in talking about it, doing something about it, and as you know, President Obama has signed more laws for black people in 6 years than for gay people in 6 years than America has done for black people in 500 years. Okay? Latinos and Hispanics, we don't have nothing against them. But America is interested in talking about their issue and doing something about it. Even the illegal immigrant gets more discussion time than black people do. So I want all y'all to understand that when I say we cannot be for the multicultural agenda, what I am saying is that they're trying to manipulate you into blending in with other non-white people who don't, honestly speaking, care any more about the black predicament than white folks do. Remember, during the civil rights movement, Mexicans were fighting in federal court to identify as white people. During the civil rights movement, Chinese were in federal court fighting to identify as white people. Arabs were in federal court fighting to identify as white people. So I ask you, what benefit is there in black people adopting a generic multicultural identity when all these other cultural affiliates have never, ever helped or supported the black situation? In fact, Their promise in coming to America is by virtue of the fact that you have very little opportunity that allows them to have a whole lot more. So you are a direct competitor with all the non-white folk for second-class citizenship in the United States of America. If I can make you stop being black and make you a person of color, I can then take the black agenda off the list and just call it a people of color issue. Now white supremacy don't matter no more. And the problem with blending in as a person of color is that you're the only non-white people who did not choose to come here. How can you be in the same situation as the Latino who came of their own free will? How can you be in the same predicament as the Asian, the Arab, the East Indian, the Chinaman? He came of his own free will. If America is so bad, why didn't they leave? You were forced to come here. So when you say African American, Asian American, Arab American, Indian American, you are ignoring your peculiar racial history in this country, which gives a false notion that slavery never took place. Remember, we're the only non-white people who cannot be deported. Let me say it again. We're the only non-white people who cannot be deported. Let me say it one more time. We're the only non-white people who cannot be deported, and that's why getting rid of you, in order to get rid of you, it is important to get rid of your agenda. If Chinese get out of hand, they can be sent back to China. If East Indians get out of hand, they can be sent back to East India. If our African immigrant brothers and sisters get out of hand, they can send them back to Africa. But if you get out of hand, you've been here too long, have done too much, and most of us don't even have a psychological connection to Africa or Africa to us, so the white man has a problem with you. How do I get rid of the American Negro without making it look obvious that I'm getting rid of him? Well, number one, I'm going to subjugate his agenda. So the first thing I'm going to do is find another minority group that I'm willing to tolerate and put their issue above black folk. LGBTQ, Latino, Hispanic. LGBTQ, Latino, Hispanic. And let me go to this. A lot of black people would argue that we need to form coalitions with the Latinos. And we need to form coalitions with the LGBTQs. And we need to form coalitions with any other brown people. I ask you a question. Have you not studied the civil rights movement? Have you not learned that every time black people form a coalition with another people, they use you, and once they get what they want, they act like they never knew you? Look at the Jew in America. We once had a coalition with the Jews back in the 40s. They don't even know you now. Do it with the Latino, and you're going to get the same effect. The Latino is not interested in identifying with you, and I hate that every time we talk, we got to include everybody else. Have you noticed the Latinos only speak for the Latinos? Have you noticed that when the Chinese speak, they only talk about them? But when you talk, you got to talk about poor white. You got to talk about Latino. You got to talk about Arab. You know why? Because you want to make white people comfortable. That's why you do that. Because America has never been sympathetic to anything that was exclusively black. Nothing that is all black will be discussed. Some of you noticed that I'm on the website for The Source Hip Hop magazine. This month, if you go to thesource.com, there's an interview with me and Brother Rock Newman out of Howard University. When you watch that interview with me and Brother Rock Newman, you can also watch it at rocknewmanshow.com. You're going to hear me talk about black and Latino. A lot of people said, Doc, you don't normally talk about other groups when you talk about us. I thought you was unapologetically African. I am. But I included the word Latino because I know if I did not, that interview would have never got on The Source. If I didn't include Latino, Oprah Winfrey would have never been told that she needs to interview me. So as a strategy to raise that $2 million, from time to time, you might hear me throw a Latino out once or twice. So scary Negroes who's scared to be all black will feel more comfortable. Are y'all following me? Don't confuse strategy with principle. Y'all know my principles. Just like with Dr. King. Some people confuse Dr. King's strategy of nonviolence with Dr. King's principles. Some people confuse Malcolm saying that he went to the Middle East after he broke with the nation and found Muslims who were white as being indicative that Malcolm was an integration. You should have knew Malcolm's principles never changed. That was strategy. So why did Malcolm say it? Because Malcolm needed to work with Dr. King. So he had to give the appearance that he was more tolerant after his break with the nation than before. So when he went down south to meet with Coretta Scott King, Dr. King would have a little elbow room to work with Malcolm because he made this statement that he made. We got to study the leader and separate the principles from the strategy. Booker T. Washington, a good example of someone who was called a sellout, who was not a sellout because he stood up at the Atlanta Cotton Exposition in 1897 and said black people need to leave political agitation alone and close ranks with the white man. If he really believed that, why was Booker T. Washington financing black civil rights struggle out his own pocket? If he really believed that, why was Booker T. Washington using Tuskegee as a hideout for black revolutionaries? Did you know that? If he believed that, why was Booker T. Washington paying for Africans to float over to Tuskegee, teach them how to build institutions and send them back? If he believed that, why was he financing independent black enterprise? If Dr. King believed that, why did the Southern Christian Leadership Conference have a stockade of weapons if he really believed in nonviolence? You got to be careful confusing what a man says on the news with what he got to say in private. White folks don't tell you everything they think on the news. And you can't expect us to tell you everything we think on the news. You don't reveal your hand to your oppressor. You have to deceive him into thinking you're doing this, but the whole time you're doing this. But I understand why we have a reservation towards that, because we've had black leaders for the last 50 years like Sharpton and Jess tell us that I'm gonna be the spook who sat by the door. So I'm gonna go in and learn all I can learn, and I need y'all to be quiet because I'm mastering the white man. And once I learn everything I need to know, I'm gonna kick the door down and we coming in. And here we are, 50 damn years later, and Jesse ain't kicked no doors in, neither have I. So you do have to study our actions, because the action should always be consistent with the principle. The speech may be different, but what I do must always be consistent with what I claim I stand for. Are y'all following me? You study a man's actions, not the words. The reason I want to talk about the Civil Rights Bill is because a lot of us don't know how the Civil Rights Bill was actually a weapon against black people instead of a weapon for black people. And this is no knock against Dr. King, because Dr. King had no control over what Congress did. Now, if you want to know why the LBGTs have taken over, if you want to know why white women got more out of affirmative action than black folk, if you want to know why the Civil Rights Bill does more for Latinos and Mexicans who are not even citizens than black folk, you got to read the language. Let's look at this. What are some of the major tenets of the Civil Rights Bill? Number one, it barred unequal voter registration tactics. Up until the Civil Rights Bill, white folk would make you take a test, they would make you pay money, they would make you produce a high school diploma in order to vote. So one of the articles of the Civil Rights Bill was to do away with those kinds of things. But guess what? In many states, voter discrimination continued then and continues now. What did the United States Congress do last year? Last year, the United States Congress struck down the portion of the Civil Rights Bill that requires certain states to get approval from the federal government before they change their voter registration policy. You know why they struck it down? Because they wanted to be able to disadvantage black folk who were not homeowners. If you're not a homeowner, they can make it difficult for you to vote by not legitimizing the ID cards that you bring in to vote. It's easy to disadvantage someone who is not a property owner. And they're doing this to undermine black people's ability to influence elections where you live. You don't vote for the president, so we're not talking about that. You've never voted for a president, ever. Every president in America was chosen by rich white property owning men with power and privilege and prestige, and they still are. If you've ever read the Constitution, and I'm a political science major, it tells you that the Electoral College chooses the president, not people. Remember, Al Gore beat George Bush by 500,000 popular votes. But George Bush ended up in the White House because he had only just two more electoral college votes. America is not a democracy. The word democracy is not in the Constitution. If you think it is, find it for me. The word democracy is not in any of the 50 state constitutions. The word democracy is not in the Declaration of Independence. The word democracy is not in the preamble. One of the greatest victories of America is convince the whole world that you live in a democracy. Do you understand that white supremacy can never let a simple majority rule? That means wherever black folk dominate, black folks have the politicians. They can't allow that. You actually think when you cast a ballot, they fairly count them up and choose who wins? But you got black people talking about you can change your life by voting. Can't you? Give me one thing we've gotten with the vote. Nothing we got was with the vote. Not even this. The Civil Rights Bill and the Voting Rights Act didn't come because you voted. It came because you couldn't vote and went to the streets and protested and boycotted and disrupted, and then they gave you that as a white surrender flag to stop disrupting our economic system. Why was Dr. King murdered? Because he had a dream? Hell no. Dr. King was murdered because he started going from civil rights to economic opportunity. And the white man said, oh hell no. This black man is going to start fighting for black folk to have jobs, and he going to start fighting for black folk to have banks, and he going to start fighting for black folk to have access to capital so they can open their own business. If we give black people a fair economic chance, what happens to white supremacy? It gets destroyed. Dr. King was murdered because in doing this, it led him to the source of white supremacy. It led him to the source. For those of you who saw Selma, which I give it a C+, should have been better. But if you saw Selma, there was a little snippet where Dr. King was talking with, the preacher who wrote The Walls Came Tumbling Down, Abernathy. When he was in jail talking to Ralph Abernathy, and Dr. King said, what are we doing, Ralphie? We're fighting for the black man to have a chance to sit at the counter, but what if he don't make enough money to even buy a sandwich, even though he could sit at the counter? That's where King was going. And guess what? Had King got there, he would have been more revolutionary than Malcolm to focus on that. Malcolm was headed the same way though. Okay? But that's where we come in. We got to stop fighting for rights, because every right you fight for is the right to participate in something they own. When we fought for the right to go into the military, you fought for the right to be in their military. When you fought for the right to go to the supermarket, in the gas station, in the hotel, you fought for the right to participate in something they own. When we fought for the right for our kids to go to desegregated schools, you're fighting for the right to go to their thing. But when you fight for economic opportunity, you're fighting for the right to build my own. And that's why they don't want to give black people access to capital, because you won't need them. And if you don't need them, you create another Black Wall Street, which undermines white supremacy and makes America work more for black people than white people. It's the money, brothers and sisters. Stop fighting to get in and fight to build from within. Stop fighting to get in. We got to fight to build within, which means we're doing analysis, right? 150 years since slavery. We're saying, where do we need to go next? Where we need to go next is to stop begging for acceptance, stop begging for integration, and start pooling our money right here in Virginia Beach. In this audience right now, we probably have almost $1 million in annual income. Some legal, some illegal. But if we put all that money in the same credit union, if we put all that money in the same bank, not a white bank, ours, now that money is earning interest. The money is working for us and we ain't even got to work for it. I need $2 million for my school. We got a black credit union in Virginia Beach. I got that. Sister want to build a house from the ground. She got that. You know why? Because it's the money is community control. It's your personal money. But when it comes together, we decide as a community how to spend it. And under the laws of banking, brothers and sisters, under the laws of banking, for every dollar that you put in the bank, did you know the bank can loan $100 off of every dollar as credit? Damn. That means if you put $500 in the bank, tomorrow, the bank can loan to a white person to come into Virginia Beach and buy up the ghetto and move you out. You put 500 in, 500 times 100 is how much money? 500,000 or 50,000? 50,000? So off of your $500 paycheck, which was nothing to you, they was able to loan $50,000. And we still into pass the hat culture. How can pass the hat culture compete with $100 to $1 credit? We got to get into the economics. They have kept us dealing with social integration. If you really are an integrationist, because some of y'all might believe white folks will one day start liking black people. Some of y'all believe that. Let's say you believe that. Here's my argument. If we're going to be integrationists, let's stop being phony with it. Integrate the banks, integrate the stock market, integrate the real estate, integrate the insurance companies, integrate the multinational corporation. If y'all really want to integrate with these white folks, stop settling for social and start fighting for economic integration. They got you fighting to go to the universities. They got you fighting to live in the neighborhoods. They got you fighting to shop at the same stores. Damn that, that's social. I want economic integration. Which means what? Which means the United States government would have to take all of America's wealth back from private owners and redistribute it to everybody, including black folk. That's the only way you truly integrate America, by making sure we start at the same starting point financially as everybody else does. We got out of slavery 150 years ago. Do you know how many white families was already filthy rich by the time they took the chains off of us? How the hell are you going to catch up with them? They got intergenerational money and you walking off the plantation with nothing, which is why most of our ancestors went right back to sharecropping. How the hell can you be free without no free money? How can you be free without no money? Freedom is based on financial freedom. There is no freedom without financial freedom. White folks that messed us up, you know what they did? They made you equate college with money. Why do you go to college? Because you want to be a teacher? No, because becoming a teacher, you figure you could buy the house you want and buy the car you want. You equate college with money. White folks know college does not equal money, it equals debt. And guess what they've done in America? They've sent black folk to college and sent white folk to the stock market. You're the black people, you're the white people. You have bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and doctorate degrees. You got all the paperwork. These the white folk. They might not have no college degree, but they worth millions because they was taught the laws of money and how to make money, banking, investing, unearned income. We got all the education, broke as hell, they got all the money. I got my master's, broke. I got my third master's, super broke. What they tell you, you can't work the job because you underqualified. You go and get a bachelor's, go back to the job, you're still underqualified. You go back, get your first master's degree, now you overqualified. How about he wasn't hiring your black ass regardless? And then they imbalanced the playing field for black children by giving them all these tests. Another test. Why do they test our kids so much? Why they gotta take the SAT test, the IQ test, the Virginia State tests? Test. You know what the purpose of testing is? It's the new Jim Crow sign. Let me break it down. Before civil rights, white only, black only. After civil rights, 1600 only, 2400 only. Do you see this? Harvard can stay all white and deny black folks. They don't say colored no more. They say if you ain't got at least a 2400 on your SAT, you can't apply here. And the guy who made the test so it disadvantages the black kids so they never get the score high enough for Harvard. Do you know that everybody who designed these tests were racist? Who invented the SAT test? The SAT test was invented by Carl Brigham, a white racist eugenicist who wanted to see black folks exterminated. He gave you SAT. The IQ tests we use all came from white racists, 95% of all of them. To do what? Testing only has one purpose: deny opportunity. Deny opportunity. I'm sorry, you didn't score high enough. You cannot go to nursing school here. I know I can do the work. Yes, we know you can do the work too, black woman. That's not why we gave you the test. We gave you the test so we have a justifiable reason to keep your black ass out without you suing us. What is the relationship between a test score and your ability to succeed in that program? What is the correlation between SAT and finishing college? What is the correlation between GRE and finishing grad school? What's the correlation between LSAT and finishing law school? What's the correlation between MCAT and finishing med school? The correlation is less than zero, is almost a perfect zero. Wait a minute, Dr. Johnson, you're telling me the test that I'm studying for to get into nursing school doesn't tell the school anything about my ability to achieve in the... That's exactly what I'm telling you. Let me give you a case study. I graduated from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. That's where I got my doctorate. When I enrolled at PCOM, you didn't have to take the GREs to go. But now, They want the GREs too. You want to know why? Because without no buffer to keep the blacks from applying, you might get more black applicants than white. So they had to come up with a strategy to cut down on all these black folk trying to get their doctorate here. And they started saying, we need your GRE score. And they used that. And not just them, all schools do it. You ever been to a school that didn't require a test score to get in, and then they started? You got to keep the blacks out. And the best way to keep black folks out is to give them a test based on white middle class information and vocabulary that you know you never taught them. The test is the biggest scam in America. It is nothing more than an iron fence that says niggas don't apply. You have to learn how to see white supremacy when it don't even look like white supremacy. I've had to tell some of my interviewers on the radio, when you interview me about black boys and black people, do not ask me about LGBTQ. You can ask me about that in a separate interview, just about LGBTQ. But when we're dealing with black people and black children, that's all I want to talk about. They say, well, Dr. Johnson, we don't understand because your position on homosexuality is controversial and people want to talk about it. We can talk about it, but on an interview, that's only about that. Because when we talking about saving black boys and you bring up this gay shit while we talking about saving black boys, you take the attention. You take the attention off of our damn sons and put it on that, and that's what white folks want you to do. And now everybody who calls the radio show want to talk about LGBT. But I thought this was about saving black boys. You just help white supremacy take our agenda off the damn table. And because you're asking me about LGBTQ, you won't even be allowed to play this interview on the radio. Y'all see that? Now everything we just talked about, saving black boys, parents can't even hear it because you ask me questions about gay life and everybody's scared to offend gay folk, so the interview never even gets played. The mistakes black folk make. And let me clarify, because some of y'all got people y'all love who are homosexual. I know folks who are homosexual. Do I hate them? I never asked you to hate no gay person. I asked you to hate the behavior. I asked you to recognize that that lifestyle is a slick strategy to reduce the population of black folks on this planet. AIDS is working, but not fast enough. Black on black crime is working, but not fast enough. Ebola is working, but not fast enough. Black women have aborted over 7 million children since 1974, but it's still not fast enough. AIDS is more powerful than all of those other strategies. You know why? Because it stops the semen of the male. It stops the semen of the male from ever fertilizing the egg of the woman. We don't have to kill black life. We can stop it from ever coming into existence. If we can convince these black children in Virginia Beach, if we can convince these little girls through the way we use the cartoon, and the way we use the internet, and the way we use Empire, and the way we use these shows, if we can brainwash these little second and third innocent black babies into thinking that loving another woman the way you're supposed to love a man is better for her. Those 3 children she would have had, she don't have them. If we could convince these little black boys in Virginia Beach through the cartoons and through the websites and through hip hop and through all, because you know the gay rappers is taking over now, and through all of this, we teach him to love a man the way you love a woman. Those 3 children he would have had, he don't have. Brothers and sisters, did you read last month's Newsweek talking about population control? What we gonna do? The earth is getting too crowded. This the shit white folks do. Make you scared. The earth has been around for how many billions of years? People been having children for how long? Have you read the Bible and all the damn babies who was born in the Bible? And now all of a sudden the white man says we ain't got enough space on earth. You know what he really telling you? There's too many of y'all and not enough of us. So they convincing black women to only have 2 children. They call it family planning. In Africa, they call it hysterectomy. What the hell it really is. This is what the white man is doing. Convincing women, go to college, don't have kids, be a woman, have one that's gonna hold you back. This is what they do. Black men, get a vasectomy. Boop, snip. I got brothers doing that kind of stuff. Damn, traumatized by child support, I guess, I don't know. Okay. Where you think health class came from? Social studies and health class are both eugenics curriculums. Do the history on social studies. Social studies came out of the American Eugenics Society. Social studies. To teach white children how not to mix with black children. Look at some of America's early social studies books. They talk about repopulation, defective genes. What does the word eugenics mean? Good stock. Who gave us the word? A white racist psychologist, Francis Galton. He said white folk are the most genetically superior people in the world. Black are the least superior, and we got to stop these 2 forces from coming together. Why do we have white supremacy? To stop the black penis from going into the white vagina. Not to be graphic, but that's why you have white supremacy. Period. Because whatever a black person touches makes more of the same. Whatever a black person touches makes more of the same. And this is why I tell you, black men, the only white women you're allowed to have are the poor white trash women that other white men don't want. They only let you have the leftovers and the undesirable. If you don't believe me, find me a black man married to a white woman who comes from big time money. I'm telling you what I know, you dumb black Negro males. I don't hate the white woman. I don't hate nobody. They call me to help them with their children too. And we got to stop using an excuse that because we're middle class, we're around more white women, Doc. So you know that's the type of, so am I. You ain't got no more degrees than I got. I work with white females every day. And yes, they try to hit on me. Yes, they try to sleep with me. They bring me all types of gifts. But the answer is hell no. Keep them stale cookies to yourself. And it's nothing but a setup. Why would a white woman want to sleep with me, being who I am and what I represent? I know what you up to. You want to sleep with me so you can Facebook, tweet, and YouTube it. Y'all leader, I had him last night. Imagine what that would do. The white women know what they doing.
Stay fly.
Because Al and Jesse and all them sleep with white women. I'm not into that. Got to have some principles sometimes. And sometimes they send them to you. I had one white man, he wanted me to marry his daughter. Yes, he did. He came to me and said, listen, I don't see color. Here's a picture of my daughter. She's working on her doctorate too. Yes, yes. This man came to me with his daughter's pictures. I think you should get to know her. You know, no, sir. I only date black women. And I only date black women from the projects. Cause she know how to gangster, she can bang. Sister with a degree can't fight. She's scary as hell, she calling the cops. So brothers and sisters, stop being afraid to be black. We call ourselves people of color. You notice that? That's the new black, people of color. When we start that? The past 10 years. Before we was black, African, now we people of color. You don't want to know. You don't want people to know you know that you're different from them. They already know you're different from them. What's wrong with you? We can't hide from this. And then I need you to understand white supremacy. Understand, some of y'all think because a white person likes you, they're not a white supremacist. Some of you think because you know some real down-to-earth, hip-hop, pants-sagging white folk who let you come to their house and eat with them and everything like that, you think they're not racist. Understand something. White supremacy has nothing to do with emotions. It has nothing to do with a white person's perception of black people. Do you realize that the worst racists in the world love being around black people? And you think they okay. Racism is about making sure my group, the white folk, stay on top permanently. That's it. It is not personal. They can marry you, they can sex you, they can teach your kids, y'all can be best friends, y'all could join the sorority together, the fraternity together, y'all could went to jail together, y'all families could know each other, y'all kids could play with each other, but when it comes to keeping white people on top, they are committed to privilege, and you need to understand that. Some of y'all think in order to be a racist, you gotta hate black people. You are wrong. The best racists don't feel no negative way about you, because it's business. Y'all have to graduate your thinking. There's no white person in Virginia who's going to cut himself off from his kith and kin for the sake of you. They're all racist because they all want supremacy. They want control of the money, control of the land. They want to dominate. Some of y'all think they racist because they don't understand who black people were in ancient history. If we just educate our white brothers and sisters that we built the pyramids in the more civilized Europe, and if we show them this and show them that, and that Jesus was black, their respect level for black folks might go up and they stop being racist. Guess what? I know you don't want to hear this, but how about the more they learn about your true potential, the more racist they have to become, you big dummy. Why do you think they disadvantage you? They know black people invented 75% of the things we use today. They know you ain't no dummy and that you invented 75% of the things we use today before you could go to school with their children. They know who George Washington Carver was. They know who Granville T was. They know that you invented the cell phone and the internet without their help. They know you made the helicopter without their help. That's exactly why they desegregated the public schools. That's exactly why they desegregated the public schools. When we was by ourselves, we was coming up with all kind of stuff. They said, oh, hell no. Make them come to school with us. We're gonna dumb them down, marginalize them, pathologize them, and make the boys settle for football and basketball being the greatest thing they can do with their life. And that's exactly what we got today. A whole generation of football players and basketball players. Brothers and sisters, we ain't got no civil rights. And one of the things we have to change about our condition going forward is we have to stop looking for civil rights and start standing up for our human rights. Every group on this earth that recognizes themselves as a nation within a nation fights for human rights. You are a nation within a nation. You are not an American citizen. You never have been. I'm not talking about on paper. I'm talking about in practice. You've never been an American. We have to take our fight to the United Nations, the World Court, International Criminal Court of Justice. That's where we should be going to court, not downtown. When the police officer beats you, not downtown. That's why I respected the Ferguson revolt as much as I did. Because by them burning up and tearing down, they forced the United Nations to look at police brutality in America. They took it to the international court. If they would have settled for going downtown, you might have never knew Michael Brown was murdered. But because they took it to the street, that's how we get action. Black people have never gotten anything through the legal process. What have we ever, did we get out of slavery through the legal process? Did we get the Civil Rights Bill through the legal process? Hell no, we fought for it. And you're gonna have to fight some more. And I don't wanna be the bearer of bad news, but you're gonna have to fight more in 2015 than you fought in the past 10 years. I'm coming from an African spiritual perspective. I study Ifa. That's the religion of the Yoruba of Nigeria. In Ifa, like with all systems, whether it's voodoo, the Kemet, or Akan, it don't matter. Every year, there's two forces, two divine forces that dominate in that year. When the new year came in, our priests and priestesses in Africa, they come together every new year and they do a divination ceremony when they call up on spirit to open the way so they can see the path. And in Ifa, we have spirits that are called Orisha. They're like the angels of the Bible and the Quran. And just like the angels in the Bible and the Quran, some are good and some are bad. But the good ones are the ones we deal with. And when they did the reading for 2015, our elders came back and said, for 2015, the ruling Orisha will be Oya and Shango. These are the warrior Orisha. When them two come together, it means the year will be marked with catastrophe, loss of life, struggle, fighting. It doesn't necessarily mean negative either, because the way the universe works is it brings violence and catastrophe to clean out weakness and decadence and usher in a new age. But I just want to let y'all know that these next 10 months, you better buckle down. And I don't think it's no coincidence that Oya and Shango are ruling in the 150th year of our freedom. I think it's all in divine order. Well, let me tell you about those two forces. Oya, the female energy of change and victory over evil. Oya is a feminine energy, but she's a fighter. She rules the marketplace. You know what that means? For those of you who have your own businesses, this is the year to call up on that Oya energy, because she helps with business. Oya also carries the ancestors with her. So this year, your ancestors are going to be around you and in your house and in your work more than ever before. You're probably going to dream more this year. You're going to get more cognition experiences during your dreams this year, because this is Oya. The ancestors travel with her. She rules over business, but most importantly, she ushers in change, and she ushers in rough change, the type of change you need when you don't even want it. Let me give you an example. She's the type you in a relationship with somebody you don't need to be in, who's messing your life the hell up. She the type who will come spiritually and yank them the hell out your life. That's Oya. Black people, y'all need to start doing something different. I'm turning this whole thing on its head. That's how she works. So I'm letting you know this year gonna be turbulent. So you got to be able to ride it out. I hate to say it, some of us gonna lose people we love. You might lose your job. You might get a new job. It's gonna be good change and negative change, but it will be quick, it will be powerful, and it may be scary. That's Oya. Her number is 9, which is the number of the ancestors. White people call 9 the number of death, but we know there's no such thing as death. 9 for us represent the ancestors. And if you've been followed by 9 a lot lately, that means your ancestors are with you. Every time you wake up in the middle of the night, you see 9s. Every time you look at your watch, it's 9 o'clock. I'm seeing 9 on the internet. Numbers, that 9 let you know your ancestors are around you. And then you have Shango. Shango, he is the personification of masculine energy, warriorship, leadership, and he also deals with business. Shango's number is 4 and 6. His element is thunder. Oya's element is the wind. She is the hurricane. She is the tornado. So expect some of those too. Shango, his element is lightning and fire. Shango is good for the brothers because Shango says it's time for black men to take up that role of leadership. Shango says it's time for black men to stand up and stop bowing down to white folk. Shango said it's time for us to get our organizations together because he deals with organizations. It's time for us to become self-employed. That's Shango energy. And so you got Shango and Oya together. Two fighting spirits run this year. So y'all better get ready to boogie. You're going to see all kind of stuff on the news and everything else. Ride it out. But most importantly, use it to your advantage. Now, some of y'all scared of African spirituality, but you're not scared of Marvel Comics, which is interesting because most of the Marvel comic heroes are the Orishas and the Loas and the Nutters of Africa that they've taken and renamed them. And since we're dealing with Shango and Oya, let me give you their stolen bootleg versions in Marvel Comics. One is called Thor and the other one is called Storm. Who is Thor? The white man with the double-headed axe. What is Shango's element? The double-headed axe. What are Thor's colors? Red and gold. What are Shango's colors? Red and gold. What is Thor's element? Thunder. Whenever you see a picture of Thor, it's the thunder. What is Shango's element? The thunder. They stole your spiritual principles and turned them into X-Men. Let's look at Halle Berry's Storm. Who is Storm? The feminine energy that controls the tornado and the thunder. She can make it storm anytime she feels like it, and she ushers in change. Storm is Oya. Let's go further. Let's talk about Wolverine, the most popular. Who is Wolverine? A white man named Logan. When he gets angry, he get 3 knives on each hand. Really now? Because amongst the Orisha, there's one name is Ogun. I know because I'm a child of Ogun. And Ogun carries 3 machetes on each hand. Not only that, take the name Logan, which is Wolverine's name when he's not mad. Drop the L off Logan. And you get Ogan. Change the A to a U, Ogun. They stealing your stuff and giving it back to you. Now you don't mind your son worshiping Thor, and you don't mind your daughter worshiping Storm, and you don't mind them having Wolverine dolls and pictures and posters, but when I come and tell you where they got them from, oh no, that's voodoo. And what you call voodoo, first of all, let's demystify. Voodoo, like Santeria of Puerto Rico and Cuba, which is ironic that so many Puerto Ricans and Cubans think they're not black and your religion is black. If you're not African, how the hell did you get this? But anyway, Voodoo, Palo, Lukumi, Santeria. These are Akan science from Ghana, Orisha science from Nigeria, Dogon science from Mali. When slavery took place and they brought our ancestors to Haiti and Puerto Rico and Jamaica, we was not allowed to practice our native spiritual system. So we had to hide it behind Roman Catholicism. And so what they did was they paired up a spirit with every Roman Catholic saint. And that's how they hid it. It's the same thing. You can't say, I study Kemet, but I don't study voodoo. It's the same thing. They just had to adapt it for the times that they were in. And for my Christian and Muslims, let me demystify this even more. Because some of y'all be flipping out right now. African spirituality is the belief in one God. Okay? And we know Islam and Christianity and the Hebrew faith all came from African spirituality. generations older than all of them put together. One God. The difference between African God in the African concept and God in the Christian Judaic Islamic concept is that in the Christian Judaic Islamic concept, you believe that God is always waiting to answer your prayers. That's not our position. Our position is that God created the world and stepped back from it. But when he stepped back from it, he left spirits to tend to every aspect of human life. And it is these spirits that are greater than man, lower than God, that are always amongst us that we can tap into for support and assistance. So if a woman is pregnant, she will still praise God for the fact I'm here, because if it wasn't for the divine supreme ruler of the universe, I would not exist. So we praise God. But when I need some assistance, I will ask for God to bless me with that assistance through one of those ruling Orisha and also my ancestors. In African culture, your ancestors are your first line of spiritual defense. You worship the Lord. You don't worship your ancestors, but you call on them for help. They're the angels you were told about in Sunday school, but they're not in the Bible. They're in your family. That's our culture. Most of you never deal with your ancestors because you was told by folks who don't know nothing about true spirituality that dealing with anything other than Jesus, Muhammad, Allah, and God is a sin. They cutting you off from your birthright. If my woman is pregnant, I'm going to call on Yemoja, the great divine feminine energy, because she's responsible for all woman affairs. If I got to fight the white man, I'm going to call on Ogun, because that is God's emissary to deal with matters of war and power struggle. If I need change, I'm calling on Oya. If I need to find the right people to work with money for my school, I'm calling on Ochosi, because that's the divine tracker that helps you find the people and things you need in order to fulfill your destiny. Yes, we praise God. But can we be honest for a minute? Most of us are not worthy of direct intervention from the supreme source of the universe. I don't know who told you you were so damn great that you can call on the Lord and the Lord is going to answer you just because you asked. This is why people start feeling that there's no God, because they say, I prayed and God. First of all, that's not the Lord's job to serve you. It's your job to serve the Lord. That's number one. Number two, you got ancestors to deal with all this stuff. Leave the Lord alone. Number three, if the ancestors can't handle it, you got Orisha that you can call on for that. And then you got the collective spirit of all black ancestors known as the Agungun. So why are you troubling the master when you already have his servants at your disposal? That's African religion. So when your prayers don't get answered, it don't bother us. It don't mean God don't exist. It don't mean God don't have favor on you. It just means you're not following the spiritual chain of command. And guess what? Because this is not religion, it is culture. You can still be a Christian and deal with your ancestors. You can still be a Muslim. In fact, the biggest difference between Muslims and Christians here and back home, let me tell you, my friends in Senegal are Muslim, but they deal with a gungun. They go to the mosque and they pray and they fast during Ramadan, and the women got their head covered. And guess what? They have ceremonies and rituals to honor their ancestors, and they still call on spirit. My Christian friends in Nigeria, they go to church and everything like that, and you go back to their house, they got a shrine with their ancestors, because religion does not replace culture. Religion does not replace culture. The white man took your culture, gave you a religion, and you think it's nothing outside of 500 years of Islam. Black people been on the earth for 2 million years. Are you serious? You really believe that 23 years of Muhammad's prophethood is sufficient for you to know everything there is to know about the unseen? You're crazy. You think 3 years of Jesus's mission, 3 years of teaching, 33 years total is enough If you really think Jesus taught you everything there is to know about the invisible forces that exist, you're crazy. Those men came to do one thing, and it wasn't to start a religion. It was to teach you how to reach God consciousness. And you know what's so funny? Arabs deal with their ancestors. Chinese Muslims deal with their ancestors. Do you know that every people on earth deal with ancestors except white folk and black Americans? Brothers and sisters, if any of you ever want a spiritual reading, and I'm not pushing this on nobody, but some of y'all, you already have that desire to study it. Some of y'all already been called by your ancestors through dreams and other stuff. It's just already in you. Some of y'all probably was born to be priests and priestesses, but the Bible and the Quran blocking your ass because you believe that more than your own ancestors. But anyway, if you want a spiritual reading, there's 3 people who I work with. I will only recommend people I trust, because you got hustlers and con artists in the spiritual community. Are y'all following me? They will act like they reading your ass and throw some stones and charge you $500, and they ain't gave you nothing but the horoscope from the Sunday paper. So you got to be careful when you're dealing with spirit. But my 3-person spiritual team is Mama Yeye Feeney out of South Florida, Chief Olaitan at the Oyo Tunji African Village, and Baba Akin Lana out of New Orleans. Whenever I need spiritual work, that's my team. And they all know each other too. So if any of y'all interested in getting a spiritual reading, it wouldn't hurt to see. I'm going to tell you, once you get your reading, you're going to be hooked anyway. I already know that. Because they're going to tell you something that you know nobody could have knew, but something that's invisible. And that's what's going to, I already know that. So I ain't got for sure. I know it. But if you're interested in getting a spiritual reading, y'all have my cell number. Text me. And I will text you their phone numbers, all 3 of them. And you can choose whoever you want to do the reading. If you want a wise elder, go to Chief Olaitan. For my ladies, you might want a female to do your reading, go to Mama Yeye Feeney. And if you want somebody who's just a middle-aged brother, that would be Baba Akin Lana, who does a very in-depth reading. His is so in-depth that you want to audio tape it, because it's like 2 hours long, and you're going to want to listen to it when you're driving around in your car. Put it on CD, because he deal with marriage, he deal with answer, but he just go in. He go in. In fact, when I get readings from him, I just like to fly to New Orleans, take a weekend. He put you down on that mat and he do the reading. You're going to be there for like 2 hours. He's going to give you everything. And after he give you everything, do you have any questions? The reading going to tell you what's relevant, but you might have questions that didn't show up in the reading. Some of y'all might got some sacrifices y'all need to do because y'all been effing up your whole life. I'm being real. Some of your ancestors ain't going to be pleased with you, and there's things you're going to have to do to get back on the right path. Because in African spirituality, we believe a good life is based on 3 things. A good life is based on 3 things. Number 1, are your ancestors pleased with you? Are your ancestors pleased with the way you're raising your kids, the way you live in your life, who you spending your life with, what you are devoted to? Are your ancestors pleased with you? That's principle number 1. I'm talking black stuff now. Ain't no Bible, no Quran in this conversation right here. Are your ancestors pleased with you? Because they are God's first officials as it relates to checking your life. That's number 1. Are your ancestors pleased with you? A lot of your bad luck is coming from your ancestors. It ain't the devil, because we don't believe in no devil. Oh my God, I just blew the whole room up. I just blew the whole room up with that, but that's a whole nother lecture. Are your ancestors pleased with you? Number 2, do you have Iwa Pele? Iwa Pele is a Yoruba word that means good character. Did y'all hear that? In African culture, and this is what makes it different. See, if you're Christian, you believe in Jesus, you're going to heaven sooner or later, no matter how bad you effed up. If you're Muslim and you took your Shahada, you're going to heaven sooner or later, no matter how bad you effed up. Not in African spirituality. You can believe in the supreme ruler. You can believe and work with your ancestors. You can believe and work with Orisha. But if you do not have Iwa Pele, good character, it don't matter. See, Islam and Christianity gives you an insurance card. because you accepted Christ, sooner or later you go to, it don't work that way in African spirituality. Even with all that, you better be trustworthy, you better be honest, you better be disciplined, you better treat people well, you better raise children well, you better honor your ancestors. We believe in character as a destiny guide. So number one, are your ancestors pleased with you? Number two, do you have good character? And number three, is your life aligned with your destiny? You wasn't brought here to work at McDonald's. You was brought here to change the world. That's why your ass suffering from depression. Your life ain't in line with your destiny. You wasn't brought here to be no Hollywood actor. You was brought here to build a new college for black children that would teach them how to go all across the world and rebuild black folk. That's why you're not happy, because your life is not aligned. You run around chasing money, but you're supposed to be a spiritual teacher. Your life is not in line with your destiny. How do we get our life in line with our destiny, Dr. Umar? Number one, you got to get a reading. Boom, from the gate. You got to get a reading. And see me, I deal with y'all, crazy black folk. So I got to get readings. I got to get readings all the time, because that's how African leaders used to move out. Shaka Zulu did not make a decision until he consulted his priests. Ya Asantewa did not make a decision till she consulted his priests. Let's come to America. Nat Turner did not make a move until he consulted the diviners around him. Denmark Vesey did not make a move unless he consulted the divine. That's the way we always move out, to make sure our decisions are in line with our destiny. Do your ancestors like the way you live it? Is the way you living in line with why you was brought to earth? And do you have good character? That's African. That's African. Right before the Civil Rights Bill was signed, and I'm gonna bring this to a close because I want to leave enough time to sign some books. They changed two things in the final draft of the 1964 Civil Rights Bill. John F. Kennedy was killed. Lyndon Baines Johnson became the president. Lyndon Baines Johnson didn't care nothing about black people, but he wanted the bill to pass so he didn't look like a hypocrite during Vietnam, telling the Vietnamese how to treat people, and you don't know how to treat black folk. But the racists in Congress stood up and said, if you want the Civil Rights Bill to pass, you got to change two things. And we're going to conclude here. You got to change two things, because we don't make laws just for black folk in America. Did y'all know that? There's never been a law ever made in this country just for black folk. There's been laws just for women. There's been laws just for gays. There's never been laws just for black folk. He said, number one, we want you to add the word gender. We want you to add the word gender. We want you to add the word gender as an additional protected category under the Civil Rights Bill. You know why they wanted gender in? So the white man, who was already rich and wealthy, could send his white wife into City Hall and register as a minority business. They still do it in Virginia right now. You got white women right here in Virginia Beach who getting minority contracts, married to a rich white man, and it is not illegal for her to do that, because being a female, even if you rich, you still qualify as minority. Look at that. The white man gave you the law only to let his woman steal your benefit and bring it back home to him. Second thing, he said change that word black to minority. This bill has to protect all non-white people, not just blacks. And when they did that, they opened up the opportunity for government to still keep black people oppressed and give all your minority benefits to Latinos, Arabs, Chinese, gay people, physically handicapped white people. So that bill didn't do a damn thing for you. It just gave you the illusion of inclusion. And you say, wow, we need the Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. What if your 5-year-old son knew that in kindergarten? What if your 7-year-old daughter could break down white supremacy on any TV show by the 2nd grade? I'm telling you, we have to have an intellectual insurrection that changes the paradigm that black people operate under, the mindset. For 150 years, we've been under an integrationist spell. From 1865 to 2015, 150 years of an integrationist spell. I'm saying the time has come for us to go from an integrationist spell to a nationalist spell that's built from within instead of trying to get within. Brothers and sisters, no coalitions with nobody. Brothers and sisters, do not hate anybody that's gay or lesbian, but hate what that lifestyle is doing and is being used to do against the rest of us. I would never hate a sexually confused black folk because I know that for them to practice that type of lifestyle, they have already been through enough in their life. They don't need Umar Johnson beating them down, bullying them. I won't do that. Black gay men have one of the highest suicide rates in America. Did you know that? Black gay men have one of the highest suicide rates. You think I'm gonna beat up my brother? Brother, I don't like the way you live. You cannot work at my school as long as that's your affliction. But I'm not gonna hate you. I'll sit down and have a conversation with you because I'm pretty sure if we put our heads together, we'll find out why you are confused like this in the first place. I don't hate my lesbian sisters. I know why she like that. Been raped, been abused, grew up seeing her mother raped and abused. I know why she like that. I don't hate her. I feel for them. I feel for them. But even though I feel for you, I'm not going to condone your lifestyle. It stops at the door. We're not having it. Somebody asked me, can gay children come to your school? First of all, there ain't no such thing as a gay black child. There's a confused black child, but he ain't gay. Sure, send his ass, send her, and I'm willing to bet. I ain't even got to talk to them about it. Here's the thing. I ain't even got to talk to them about gay and lesbian. She gonna love our womanhood training program so much. She gonna love the honor and respect that's accorded to black women so much. That will never ever be a thought in her mind again. He gonna love what a black man is about so much that thought would never even go into his mind again. I ain't got to beat nobody down. I just have to expose them to the truth. And for those of you who are Christian, what did Jesus say in the Bible? Jesus said that I was brought to this world to do one thing: bear witness to the truth. And what does the word religion mean for my etymologist? The word religion means the goodness of the truth. So there's only one religion, and it's called the truth. In conclusion, black people, I want you to make sure that you sign the parent association list. I want to make sure that you get my phone number, which I'm going to give to you again. Okay? Remember, I'm inviting all of you to write an article for the Unapologetically African Full Color magazine. Deadline is April 1st, but I prefer you send it in as soon as you can because I'm getting a lot of them already, and I might not be waiting until April 1st to choose the articles. We have a lot of room. Don't worry, it's going to be a thick magazine, but get it in, okay? If you need the email, I'm going to give you my phone number first, and then I'm going to give you the specific information. But all you got to do is text my number, and I'll text it to you anyway. Phone number 215-989-9858. Again, 215-989-9858. One more time. 215-989-9858. Historically Black College Tour for Black Boys, June 10th through the 17th, July 1st through the 8th. You can register on the website, drumarhbcutours.com. drumarhbcutours.com. That's for black boys 11 to 17. We're not doing girls this year because they too damn thirsty and I don't want nobody getting pregnant. But we will do girls next year. This year the boys, next year the girls. Okay? By the way, I'm working on my book for black women. For sisters only, relationships and dating. And the name of the book is Thirsty. And I'm doing one for the teenage girls. And the name of that book is Young and Thirsty. I'm kidding. I am working on a book for sisters though. Okay. Email the article for the magazine to umarthepsychologist@yahoo.com. umarthepsychologist. One word, Umar the Psychologist @yahoo.com. That's for your magazine article. If you need to send me a resume because you want to work at the Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey School, you email your resume to fdmgresumes, resumes@gmail.com. I need more STEM people. I ain't got enough farmer resumes. I ain't got enough science teachers. I ain't got enough technology folk. I ain't got too many solar power folk. Okay? I need more natural hair folk. I need more people who do raw and natural food. I also need people for the clothing design industry. Any sisters in here know how to sew? I heard the feminists outlawed sewing for black women. But if you know how to sew, sisters or brothers, we need you for the clothing manufacturing plant. Okay? Very important. This dashiki I got on, the African elder who made this for me, picked up a piece of mud cloth, went over to the sewing machine, pulled out some scissors. I don't know how fast he went clip, 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 put it on the sewing machine, and here we go. We got to teach our children that. I don't know how to sew. I need to know how. Because every time I dry my underwear, they come out with a hole in them. But anyway, I'm kidding. Fellas, no thongs for men. No thongs for men. That's for gazy. We don't do that. No thongs for men. I know they're selling thongs for men. That is not swag. Anyway, so the Black Boy College Tour, you have the email address for the resumes, email address for the article, my website, drumarjohnson.com. I know some of y'all told me that y'all wanted to know if y'all could order my book on the website. You can, but I would urge you to buy it now because I'm always traveling. So if you order the book online, it might not get to you for 2 months. And I say that on my website. Allow 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. So if you want to wait till spring, be my guest. But you got it right here. I want to take about 5 questions and then we'll wrap up for the evening. Does anybody have a question? That's number 1. Hold on before you go. Do we have a number 2? My brother is 2. My brother is 3. Queen is 4 and Queen is 5. And that'll do it. I'll repeat the question. My sister. I know people who know rich people who are famous. And they've asked these rich people who are famous. Not just for the school, but even just to get interviewed for the documentary. And everybody's afraid of me. No, but because I'm unapologetically African. You know, they've taken my position on homosexuality and they've used that to intimidate a lot of them from helping me. But I don't even think it's the homosexual issue. I think it's the pro-blackness. All of them live in a white world surrounded by white folk. And they're scared to align themselves with me. But let me not lie for them too much. If they really wanted to get me that money, a suitcase will miraculously slide into my damn door. Are y'all following me? So let me not come up with excuses about white folk. They don't want to help me because they selfish. Now I'm going to tell you another reason. black folk, right? Nah, the black folk, huh? Yes, the consequence. White folk catch them, they might not be rich no more. But again, the whole thing is, black people with money don't want to do anything with money without being seen. Y'all follow me? They want to be able to take a picture with me with the real big check that says $1 million to the FDMG Academy for CNN and CNBC. You can't do that with me because you can't let the white folk know you helping me. And because they can't brag to the whole world that I gave Umar Johnson a $50,000 check, they'd rather give me nothing. See, our rich people only do stuff when they be seen. They want the big check on the news so they can put it in they. You can't do that with me. This is an underground operation. And because they can't do it with me, they'd rather not give me nothing. But I'm not worried about that because no movement we had was built on rich black money. Every movement we had was poor black money. So let's stop passing the buck to Oprah and let's dig in our own pockets. Y'all follow me? Black America got more money than Oprah. So my thing is, it's on us. Her kid's gonna be all right because she ain't got none. It's for us. You understand? It's for us to do this for our children. Maybe one day she will. I'm not gonna rule them out. I know they all know me. I know they do. Because people say, yeah, they know you. They all know me. Oprah knows me, but I never been on her show. Tavis knows me, but I never been on the show. Jay-Z, Puff, all them, they even watch my DVDs. I know this for a fact. I know people know me. No, they know you well, but they will not give you no money. They be sampling my voice. When I was in Syracuse the other day, one of my young brothers, I forget the rapper's name, got my voice on one of his albums. He's like, ooh, they sample my voice and everything. They know me. You can't sample my voice unless you know me. So we got to do it. Forget them. This is our year. Oya and Shango, and both of them deal with wealth. So the money is around. We just got to manifest it. We got to manifest it. Who's my number two? My brother. I think we need to build something we don't have, and that's a Pan-African Intelligence Network, PAIN. We need that. When Ferguson kicked, most of us didn't have no way to get accurate information. We had to rely on Anderson, Gay-ass Cooper, right? You see that? So we need to build a multinational intelligence network. I'm serious, even locally. If something pops off in Virginia Beach, how do all y'all let all y'all know? If she finds something out, how does she get that to all the black folk in Virginia Beach? If martial law popped tomorrow, how do you get notice to the black folk? We ain't got no communication systems. But because that's your field, I would encourage you to build one. We need that. A serious joint where we can get information about what's going on a grassroots level from anybody. Because right now, the white man controls the information. There could be a full-blown massacre going on in Virginia Beach right now, God forbid, and no other black folks in the world would know because CNN don't cover it. We are at the mercy of white people. If they didn't cover Ferguson, you might have not knew what happened. I don't like that. We got to get out that position. And Marcus Garvey always told us to what? Be prepared. He said, be prepared or you will die. He also said, if the black man and woman are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and die from the effects of it. How much of that poison we done drunk? We done drunk the homosexual poison. We done drunk the capitalistic poison. We done drunk the white Jesus poison. We done drunk the multicultural poison. We done drunk I can't deal with my ancestors because that's the devil poison. How much of what you think is nothing more than European poison? You got to purge that out of you. Purge that cracker living inside of you. And we all got one. If you sitting here, me included, we all got a cracker inside. Because we was raised with, I'm serious. Every one of you psychologically is part European, myself too. Let's not kid ourselves. And if you ever come across a black person telling you that they don't suffer from post-traumatic slavery, they're the biggest victim of them all. Who's my number three? My brother. Here's the issue. Any asset that is a hot commodity should be invested in. whether that's gold, silver, gas, petroleum. Or here's my issue with these investment schemes. I'm asking y'all to be careful. Because I know a lot of black folk giving money to online investment clubs for folks they never seen before. I think some of us getting conned. I know a lot of folk buying silver, gold, but they don't get it. Somebody holds it for them. You see, now if you're investing in something that comes your way, fine. But here's another issue. You invest in gold. The stock market crashes. But in your house, you got a whole room, $20 million in gold coins. I just got one question for you. One of those coins is worth $5,000. You got to feed your family. You got a $5,000 gold coin. Even if you go to the supermarket, who the hell is going to accept a gold coin as a medium of exchange for the resources you want? I'm not saying we shouldn't invest, we should. I'm saying if you can't liquefy your assets, what good is it having? Because if a race war kick, the stock market crash, you go into a white bank with your gold coins, they might not cash you out. So we got to come up with a system of liquefying assets. They will not let you get on the airplane and take $50,000 in gold to Africa. Are y'all following me? So when we talk about building up, because I know a lot of people saying, I got this and I got gold. Okay. How you going to liquefy it? Remember Michael Jackson? They were saying Michael Jackson was broke. He wasn't broke. He had a lot of wealth. But how he couldn't liquefy the wealth? You could own a whole bunch of land. How many people got houses they own? They trying to sell them. It's wealth. But if you can't liquefy it, so I'm just saying, come up with a liquefaction system for the wealth you have so you're in a good position if something does pop off. Who's my number 4? 4 stepped off. Oh no, there you go, Queen. You're emailing me an article. It could be on any topic you want. Okay? It needs to be relevant to African people. It could be anything you want. I'm going to decide in my team whether or not we feel it's appropriate for the magazine. And it will be as long as it's something that black folk can benefit from. You might do an article on black womanism versus black feminism. Okay? You might do an article on black children. You might have a recipe. You know, you might have a new hip-hop chicken sauce or some shit, right? Okay? But I want y'all to know that your article don't have to be super serious. Y'all got me? Because we trying to appeal to everybody. Because some of you are like, damn, this for Dr. Umar paper, I got to go in. No. Okay? Okay? No. We're writing for people and we got to meet them where they are. You got me? Tips for being a single mother and unemployed. You might have a testimonial about how you got through your divorce. I mean, think general. I don't want y'all to get locked into conscious topics. We got to deal with the everyday issues of black folk. If you want to do a conscious topic, fine. But I want you to know you could do a regular mainstream black topic. You might want to do a book review on the Empire TV series. Excuse me, a sitcom review. You might want to do a book review on the next slut trash novel that they print. Okay? Whatever. I want diversity. I want diversity. And if I like what you write, I might ask you to do it monthly. So if you do like a poem or if you do something like that, I might ask you that you do it monthly. But think globally, think general. I want my elders to do articles. Your child might want to submit something because we're going to have a children's corner. And if any of you have any ideas for departments in the magazine, text them to my phone. You might say, you know what you should have? You should have a resource page. This was somebody told me the other day, because a lot of times black folk don't know what websites to go to get black information. You know, or some of you might say, well, you know, you need a singles corner. People who are single looking for relationships. One page, if you interested, you look, you see their picture, you can email them that way. I don't want to contribute to, you know, nothing crazy, but we have something like that. You know what I mean? But think about that. And who's my number 5? Queen. Hold that thought. You were 4, right? Okay. My ADHD kicked in. Yes. Oh yeah. Text myself. Let me give y'all my number. Did I give it? ADHD. Text my number, and I text you. I gotta realize I got a million stuff going on here. I got a book, I got another book, I got the school, I got the fundraiser, I got kids I gotta psychologically evaluate. I got a whole long speaking schedule. And speaking of the speaking schedule, because some of y'all might have family in other places, let me just read it off real quick, and we'll end on that. Because y'all might have somebody, because every time I go somewhere, somebody says, if I knew you was there, I would have been. I've been waiting for you to come. And nobody Okay. Here we go. And you can text me for the schedule too. You can text me, I'll text you too. Port Gibson, Mississippi, Tuesday. Reno, Nevada, first time in Nevada, Thursday and Friday. Kansas City, Kansas, February 15th, that's Sunday. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the 18th at the African American Research Library. Charlotte, North Carolina, Johnson C. Smith University, Saturday, February 21st. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the 23rd and 24th. Paterson, New Jersey, Fred Jordan Scholarship Banquet, the 25th. Anne Arundel College in Maryland. Arnold, Maryland, I'll be at the Anne Arundel Community College on Thursday, the 26th. Florida A&M University, the 27th. Atlanta, Georgia, the 28th. Houston, Texas, March the 7th. Phoenix, Arizona, the 13th and 14th. Brooklyn, New York, baby, the 16th. San Francisco for the first time, March 21st. Northern Illinois University, March 23rd. Penn State, and I'm surprised they finally got me because they've been fighting to get me. Them crackers said, hell no. Somehow they got it. April 11th, Howard University, May 5th. Birmingham, England for African Liberation Day, May 24th and 25th. If you want to go, let me know. Feel free to come. Tulsa, Oklahoma, May 30th. In the first annual Dr. Umar Johnson Conference, Harlem, New York at the National Black Theater. Put that on your calendar. June 5th through the 7th, myself and David Banner will be doing the double lecture on Saturday, June 6th. You want to be there for that, okay? That's the 5th. And the ladies, guess what I'm doing for y'all? Friday night, the 5th, is going to be my For Sisters Only book release and For Sisters Only lecture. So that weekend, 5th through the 7th. Fab 5 Power Talk in Washington, D.C., Part 2, June the 20th. Me, Dick Gregory, Francis Cress Wilson, Anthony Browder, and who was the 5th? Me. Claude Anderson. How forget Claude Anderson? I just on the phone with him. San Antonio, Texas, first time June 27th. So that's that. It's been good, Black family, much love. Thanks for coming. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. If I need to sign any books or take any pictures, come on up now. Let's take care of them because we got to be out by 10. The line is this way. The line is this way.